In the remote corners of our world where shadows hold sway, tales of the unexplainable often emerge. These stories, whispered under the cover of night and passed down through generations, have a certain power. They captivate us, they terrify us, and in their own strange way they connect us. Today, we delve into one such tale, an urban legend that has whispered its eerie tune across centuries. This is not a tale of monstrous creatures or vengeful spirits. No, this is the story of a more subtle yet equally unsettling entity known as the Silent Watcher. A spectral figure as elusive as the wind and as quiet as a shadow. It is said to appear in the dead of night, never causing harm directly. Yet its presence is always a harbinger of misfortune. Some say it is a wraith, a spirit trapped between dimensions, forever doomed to watch, but never interact. Others believe it to be a cosmic observer, a being from beyond our understanding, its motives and methods unfathomable. But all agree on one thing: when the Silent Watcher appears, calamity is sure to follow. The Silent Watcher is not a figure of horror that chases you down dark alleys or haunts your dreams. Instead, it is the chill you feel down your spine when you're alone at night, the prickling sensation that you're being watched, the uncanny feeling of an unseen presence. It does not strike, it does not scream, it merely watches, and in its watching brings about an uncanny sense of dread. And yet, despite its spectral presence and the misfortune it brings, there are those who seek it out, drawn by an insatiable curiosity, a desire to understand the unknown, to face the unfathomable, and perhaps to challenge fate itself. The tale of the Silent Watcher begins in a quaint little town untouched by time. Nestled in the heart of the dense forest lay the town of Oakshade, a place where time seemed to stand still. In this quiet hamlet, the daily ebb and flow of life was dictated not by the ticking of a clock, but by the rising and setting of the sun. The people of Oakshade, much like their ancestors, held a simple, unassuming life in high regard. They were a community deeply steeped in tradition and superstition, skeptical of the modern world and its constant, relentless change. Oakshade was a town where legends and folk tales were as much a part of the local fabric as the towering oaks that gave it its name. The townsfolk were more likely to consult an almanac or the local soothsayer than a weather app. And the whispers of ghosts and ghouls were not dismissed as mere fiction, but rather respected as part of an unseen world. It was here, amongst the narrow cobblestone streets and quaint thatched roof houses, that the first sightings of the Silent Watcher began. Late at night, some claimed to have seen a tall, shadowy figure standing motionless at the edge of the woods. It was always the same: a chilling presence, a glimpse of an ethereal figure, and then nothing. The town's elders dismissed these accounts as the product of an overactive imagination, or perhaps the result of one too many ales at the local tavern. However, there were those who believed. They whispered of an old legend, a tale passed down from generation to generation about a spectral guardian who appears in times of great peril. Yet, many scoffed at such tales, choosing to believe that the Silent Watcher was nothing more than a figment of their neighbors' imaginations. Little did they know, the apparition they dismissed was a harbinger of doom. As the moon took over the sky, the town of Oakshade fell into a series of inexplicable misfortunes. The first sign of trouble was the unseasonable frost that descended upon the town, turning the vibrant greenery into a bleak, frozen wasteland overnight. Crops withered, livestock fell ill, and the once bustling marketplace became a ghost town. The chill in the air was more than just physical. It was as if a shadow had been cast over the spirits of Oakshade's denizens. Just as the town began to grapple with this cold calamity, a string of mysterious disappearances ensued. One by one, the town's most robust men and women vanished without a trace. Their last known locations? Always near the ancient oak tree at the heart of Oakshade, the same tree that bore the eerie carving of the Silent Watcher. And then, the whispers started. Whispers of a silent figure seen lurking in the periphery, always watching, always waiting. Strangely enough, these sightings often coincided with the unfortunate events that seemed to plague the town. The figure was never seen up close, and no one could describe its features, yet its presence was felt, like a cold wind rustling through the silent streets of Oakshade. To add to the town's misery, a series of fires broke out, consuming homes and livelihoods. The flames danced with an unnatural fury, as if fueled by a force unseen. Each fire, curiously enough, started near the ancient oak, the epicenter of the town's misfortunes. The final blow came in the form of a relentless storm that lasted for 3 long days and nights. The storm ravaged the already suffering town, leaving nothing but despair in its wake. Throughout the storm, the silhouette of the Silent Watcher could be seen standing firm, an ominous sentinel amidst the chaos. In the wake of these calamities, the townsfolk couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. The town's oldest resident, Madame Rose, held secrets of the past, secrets that revealed the true nature of the Silent Watcher. A figure of immense wisdom and mystery, Madame Rose was as much a part of the town's history as the cobblestone streets themselves, and she held a story, a tale that had been passed down through generations, a narrative that would shed light on the true nature of the Silent Watcher. Madame Rose described a time, centuries ago, when the town was just a fledgling settlement. Amidst its residents was a man of honor and respect, yet met with an unjust fate by his own kin. His name has been lost to the annals of time, but his story lives on. Betrayed by his brethren, he was wronged and shunned, left to wander the outskirts of the town, an outcast. His pleas for justice fell on deaf ears, his cries for help lost in the wind. But his spirit was far from broken. He vowed to watch over the town to ensure that justice would one day prevail. He became the Silent Watcher, a spectral guardian looming over the town, a constant reminder of the injustice that had once occurred. With time, his physical form faded away, but his essence remained, eternally vigilant. His presence was felt as an eerie chill in the air, a shadow that seemed to always loom over the town, a silent observer of the town's deeds. However, the Silent Watcher was not the cause of the town's misfortune. He was merely a symbol, a sign, a harbinger of the impending doom that was set to befall the town. The real threat was yet to come, a consequence of the town's ancestors' actions, a reflection of their sins. The Silent Watcher, it seemed, was not the cause of their misfortune, but a mere sign of the impending doom. With the truth revealed, a greater threat loomed over Oakshade, a curse set in motion centuries ago. The real menace wasn't the Silent Watcher, as the townsfolk had long feared. No, the true terror was the curse that had turned an innocent man into this spectral figure, a curse that was reaching its zenith. The man who became the Silent Watcher was not a villain, but a victim of a powerful curse cast by a scorned witch, a woman whose love he had spurned. In her wrath, she did not just punish him, but put a curse on the entire town of Oakshade. This curse was not a simple one. It was a ticking time bomb, its fuse lit centuries ago, slowly burning, inching its way towards a catastrophic end. The man, out of guilt and despair, condemned himself to watch over Oakshade, to forever bear witness to the impending doom of his town. The curse was designed to bring about a disaster of epic proportions, a calamity that would wipe out Oakshade from the face of the earth. Each passing day brought the town closer to its doom, each ticking second a step towards annihilation. The Silent Watcher now understood was not a harbinger of individual doom, but a sentinel, silently screaming a warning to the oblivious citizens of the town. His presence was a constant reminder of the curse, his silent vigil a desperate attempt to protect his town from the inevitable. One might wonder, could this curse be broken? Could the town be saved? The answer to that remained unclear. What was clear, though, was that the curse was reaching its peak, and soon, very soon, Oakshade would face its reckoning. The clock was ticking, and time, it seemed, was not in Oakshade's favor. The Silent Watcher could only observe, his silent plea for salvation echoing through the night, a chilling reminder of the real threat that lurked in the shadows of Oakshade. The real horror story was not the Silent Watcher, but the curse that had created him and the impending doom it promised. With the town's fate hanging by a thread, the residents had to find a way to break the curse and pacify the Silent Watcher. In the heart of Oakshade, the clock tower's hands ticked relentlessly, each second echoing in the silent night, a constant reminder of the race against time. The town's residents, once divided by fear, now banded together in a desperate attempt to break the curse that had held them in its icy grip. The town's elders, their faces etched with lines of worry, pored over ancient texts and whispered incantations. Their voices rose and fell in a rhythmic chant, each word a plea to the unseen forces that governed their destiny. The air thickened with a sense of urgency. The suspense hung heavy, and the silent onlookers held their breath, their hearts pounding in unison with the ticking clock. The young ones, too, joined in the struggle. They scoured the town searching for hidden symbols and clues, their small hands clutching tightly to the pieces of the puzzle. Their determination, their fearlessness, was a beacon of hope in the gloom. Meanwhile, the rest of the town worked tirelessly, their hands blistered and raw, as they fortified their homes, their safe havens. The once serene town was now a buzzing hive, its inhabitants driven by the will to survive, to protect their loved ones, to reclaim their home from the clutches of the silent watcher. And as the clock continued to tick, marking the passage of time, the town's resolve only grew stronger. The suspense, the fear, the uncertainty all fueled their determination. Each second that passed, each tick of the clock, brought them closer to the moment of truth. Would they succeed? Would they break the curse and pacify the silent watcher? Or would their efforts be in vain? The answers lay hidden, shrouded in the veil of time, waiting to be revealed. In the face of adversity, the town of Oakshade found unity and courage. As the final seconds ticked away, the fate of Oakshade hung in the balance. The tension was palpable, a thick fog of unease that seemed to drape itself over the entire town. The air was heavy with anticipation, every breath a struggle against the suffocating dread that loomed in the shadows. The townsfolk gathered in the town square, their faces pale under the moonlight, their eyes reflecting a shared determination. The time had come to confront the chilling specter that had haunted their dreams and claimed their peace, the silent watcher. The town's elder, a man of grit and aged wisdom, stepped forward. With a hushed voice that echoed through the silence, he recited an ancient incantation. This was their only hope, the last thread of salvation that they clung onto, to break the relentless curse. The words of the incantation hung in the air, each syllable a plea to the unseen forces that governed their fate. As the elder's voice waned, a chilling wind swept across the square, a tangible manifestation of the fear that gripped each soul. The silent watcher emerged from the shadows, its form a mere whisper against the night. The townsfolk watched, their hearts pounding, as the specter hovered above them, silent as the grave. The elder reached the climax of the incantation, his voice rising in a crescendo of desperation. The silent watcher seemed to flicker, its form wavering under the weight of the words. The townsfolk held their breath, their eyes wide with fear and hope. Would their efforts be enough? The wind howled, the specter flickered, and the elder's voice rang out for the final time, the last word of the incantation echoing through the silence. And then, nothing. The silent watcher was still. The wind died down, and the town was plunged into an eerie quiet. The outcome was unclear, the specter's form still hovering, yet somehow different. As the clock struck midnight, the town held its breath. When dawn broke, Oakshade was still standing, but the tale of the silent watcher was far from over. The morning sun cast long shadows through the hushed town, a haunting reminder of the night's harrowing events. The once bustling streets now lay eerily quiet, the joyous laughter replaced by a deafening silence. The curse may have been lifted, or so it seemed. Yet an unsettling air of uncertainty lingered, a quiet whisper in the wind, hinting that the darkness may not have retreated entirely. Just as Oakshade begins to mend its wounds, a chilling breeze stirs from the east, carrying whispers of another tale yet untold. The town of Eastwood, oblivious to the storm brewing on its horizon, carries on in peace. Little do they know, their tranquility is but the calm before a tempest, a new legend waiting to unfold. While Oakshade might have survived, another town waits unknowingly in the shadow of a new legend.